This is Jeff Allen off the Gridiron. Today is April 28th and about 4:30, and I'm coming out to my aunt's property. We're going to spend the night under the stars. We're going to make a quick shelter and find some water, make some fire, and just enjoy the night. So stay with me, and we'll take you on this quick overnight journey. That's awesome. I just pulled in. This is my aunt's property, as I said, and she comes running out to say hi, and what are you doing? And I have to explain to her, oh, I'm just going to go spend the night. And she's like, where, in the woods? I was like, yeah, I'll go find a fence row up here to lean on and set up some little fire pit with some rocks. And yeah, just tuck in for a great night under the stars. She's all worried, and well, what time are you parked, and what time are you leaving, and should I know where, should I call you for anything if you need anything? And, oh well, just being a concerned aunt, so that's awesome. Anyways, let's get going. We're up over the hill here shortly. Got a great property here, full of hardwoods. We're way up on a hill right now, quite windy. I don't think this is a great spot. The wind's a little too high. It'll be pretty blustery up here tonight. But I do love what I see here. I'll have to remember it for the fall. Right through these narrows here, just over this fence line into our field. What do we see? Lots of tracks, lots of fresh tracks. Deer tracks. That's a good sign. I have to remember this spot for later. Okay, we're coming to the end of the field. It drops off in this valley, and already I can see some things I like. Way down in the back end, I just saw a turkey fly. Must be some turkeys down in here. That'd be interesting if we can find one of those. Some mallard ducks going over. Great spot. Anyways, I'm down on the other side of this forest. I think I'll find a nice area out of the wind, nice and covered. Let's keep going. Going into a bit of an opening here. And just checking out, there's a bunch of sticks down up here. It might be a kind of an instant shelter. It's already got that kind of skeleton shape that I need, that frame. I might be able to drop my tarp right over the top of it. Come up to this down tree here. Not too bad. It looks pretty locked up there. The tree that it's stuck on is still green. That might be a good spot. Clear up this understick here, drape my tarp over, stake it down, and I notice up here along the shoulder, along the field edge, lots of good rocks. We pull those down. There's another pile right there. And we can pull those down and make a little fire here. Dig away the grass though. That's a lot of tinder waiting to go up, so we have to be really careful if we start a fire tonight. And best not to start one until this wind goes down. So we'll see if this is our spot. We'll keep looking though. Okay, we've come down over the hillside from way up there at the top, came down, and just thought we'd double check down here. I know this is a little closer than any possible water. Saves dragging it back up to the hill. So, and what I see here, obviously in these fence rows, is really common for grapes to grow. Now this is not the right season, but that grapevine makes great cordage if I need to use some of that in the pinch. But let's get on through here and head over to this drier land and see if we can find a spot to set up. Pretty soupy down in here. Lots of standing water. Lots of standing water. But what I do love is it's going to be easy firewood everywhere around here. Lots of down wood already. Down wood's good because you can conserve your energy. And just over here, I see a pile of downed ash trees, which they make great wood. Hardwood, long lasting, and that'll be needed tonight. I already hear the peepers. Little frogs chirping in the background. But this is some pretty thick slogging. All the undergrowth has come up, so it'll be some. We got to get over there somewhere through this through this water. So let's see if we can find a drier patch up just up around these trees. This is great, some nice flowing water, a little bit of a current, but I do know there's no fish in here or minnows. It's not coming from it's coming from a swamp way up across the road. I can hear traffic from here, so we'll probably have to purify this water if we do use it. Most of it's probably runoff, but we're not going to take a chance. We're going to head up here a little bit, and it looks a little bit drier. There's some possible spots up in there. Let's see if we can cross this mess and keep going. Okay, we've crossed that little creek there, and look at this. Game trails everywhere. I think it's for probably bigger game that I want to take care of tonight, but it makes for easy walking and something to remember for the future. If you ever want to set up a large snare or some kind of possible deadfall, I guess. The rule with the deadfall is you have to have the weight coming down on the creature, probably, you know, 5 times its weight. So it could be pretty hard to do. Lots of energy getting that set up to take something of that size. Might be a better idea to take something a little smaller. Wow, this is a nice spot. Some nice flat ground here. Certainly well protected from the wind. I don't feel anything. I see some cedars nearby. Good for fire starting. Some soft ground. I did pass all that grass back there. We could always bring that over for some bedding. A little bit of pine tree in the background there. Also some more good kindling. Some down wood. This might be the spot. I'm going to drop my pack and see if I can get something set up. Anytime you do take a break, it's always a good idea to check over your pack. Make sure there's nothing that's fallen off. And if you do this fairly regularly, then you're always ensured that if you did drop something or you think you lost it, the distance from your last spot to now may not have been, you know, a matter of minutes. So you can always backtrack your steps, try to find anything that may have fallen off. And because once you lose it out here and don't notice it, it's definitely gone. Before you get working, it's always a good idea to take a couple layers off. These layers, you can get awful sweaty in a hurry if you're doing any kind of physical activity for any length of time. So just before I start working on cutting, setting up camp, take a couple layers off. Even a hat's a good idea to take off, and you know, let your body cool down, or at least acclimatize to that working effort. So that's what we're going to do, and try to find some big poles to start a ridge pole for our shelter. Anytime you're walking in the woods and just searching for something else, you should always keep your eyes open for something you may not need, but you might need. You never know. So walking through, I was gently reminded of hawthorns in the area. This is a little hawthorn bush. These small needles, you can take these and you know, if nothing else, work them into a trap for, you know, really small game. These are very hard, very sharp spikes. They can be dried out in the fire. Potentially you can make needles out of them in a pinch to use to stitch up garments or something. But knowing this is here, I should take a few of these. Also, if we're careful with the angle that they're coming off here, you could also cut them off and potentially make a gouge hook for fishing. So we know that these are here. The camp's just off over here. That's something we'll just put in their memory banks and maybe come back to if we need to. Here's that same creek again. It's going to be nice listening to that sound all night. And with camp less than 40 meters away, water's nice and handy for a drink or to wash your hands, clean your game, whatever it may be. Okay, sometimes you second guess things. It's getting later in the day now, and my trip down to the bottom, you know, we walked around there, we thought we had a site, but there wasn't a lot of bedding material around, and it was pretty wet. And what I had to remember that down in the valley like that, just over here, with the cold coming on, it's going to go seek the lower level, and it would go down toward that valley, and I think it would be pretty damp and cold, a little more than usual. Up here there's a bit of wind, but if I'm out of the wind, it should be okay. And again, I've got lots of rocks, water's just a step away, and I think this is going to be home. Very solid. Anchor points coming back, the wind's coming from the right direction, so I think this is going to be okay. So I'm going to get a tarp out and get it down, and then if I'm happy with that, get my gear covered up before the rain starts, and then start digging out some ground for a fire and getting the bed ready. The plan is to tie my tarp off here, extend it down this way, and then gives it a nice slope up. Then I'll have a little area here and a fire and a instant shelf and a little stick on the inside of my shelter to hang my flashlight or my camera. Should be good. Always great when you're getting ready to cut to have a neck knife handy. Anything that's quick and easy you can put in, put out, and that way you never have a chance to miss your holster and your sheath. And that's the last thing you need to, when you're camping, is to misplace your one of your most important assets. So keep it safe. By yourself, setting up a tent, setting up a tarp is maybe even worse. You really need to secure different points, different anchor points, almost one at a time, and obviously put it together in stages, and you're going to be constantly making alterations over the course of your stay. So right now we need a couple more poles, and I want this to be a bit of a baker style tent where I can actually sit up in it tonight. I think we're going to get wet, so I got to get moving. Another big idea is when you're working, is work smarter, not harder. So instead of doing a lot of cutting, especially for just a quick temporary shelter, take advantage of already down wood. That way it's it's certainly dry for one, and you don't have to waste your time and energy making cuts. So we're going to cut this one and take it back. Probably be able to pull it out without much problem. Might have to cut off on making your shelter in stages, and I think that's it's the most practical thing to do. And here's one of the reasons. Here's another tip that I do with each of my lashings. Before I actually lash them down tight, I do just tie them off very loosely, because until I get everything where I want it to go, I'm not going to cinch it up right tight. In fact, I just came up with this centerline ridge pole, which will give the roof a little bit extra support, especially since the wind is coming from our left to right. One other thing is, before you do set up a shelter, always check up above you. Make sure there's no widowmakers, any dead branches nearby that could can affect your stay in a negative way. Okay, got to keep going.